Guys, Preacher 357 here, out in the shop, and gonna bring to you a short little video here today. About 2 months ago, I did a video on the Smith and Wesson Model 36, their Chief Special, their little snub-nosed J-frame revolver, 5-shot 38 special. And recently, this week, I got a comment on that video that basically stated it was a horrible video because I didn't really show the gun at all. I was just moving it around too much and talking too much, and you know, the point of the video was to show off the gun, and I didn't do that, and so it was a horrible video. And of course, initially, you know, my male pride wanted to just tell that guy what he could do with his opinion, but I've always took pride in being the kind of person that valued truth and that sought after the truth. And so I went back and kind of watched that video, and you know, I think he had a point. Sometimes you just have to realize, you know, I could have done better. So I thought, well, since I didn't do that good a job of presenting the gun and really showing the gun, of course I did some shooting, some other things. I talked a lot about the history and some different things like that, but I didn't do a very good job of showing the gun. I just do a short video where I just show the gun, just a close-up video here at the cleaning table, and I'll just show the gun off a little bit and make amends for my failure in that previous video. So let's get over here to the cleaning table here and take a look at the Model 36 Smith and Wesson, the Chief Special. All right, guys, we've got the Model 36 here on the cleaning table now. Take a close look at it. Number one, it's got the standard Magna grips on here. These do not have the diamonds on them, you'll notice. They had already been discontinued by the time this one came out. This is a model that came out, I want to say it's a 69, given the serial number. It's very close to the end of the 6-digit serial numbers that they were producing around that time. In 69 is when they actually switched over to the J prefix serial numbers. And this one doesn't have a J, but the last of the 6-digit serial numbers was in 69 as well, and it's very close to the end. So I'm going to say it's either a 69 or a late 68, but I just go ahead and call it a 69. But you can see here, it's a 5-shot 38 special. A little revolver, fits in the pocket well, easily. It has the it has the hammer-mounted firing pin here. The new models now, if you were to pick up one of the classic editions, one of the reissues that Smith and Wesson does now of these, they'll have the frame-mounted floating firing pin, and the hammer will just be a hammer with no pin on it whatsoever. The pin is inside the frame, and it hits the floating firing pin and drives it into the primer. They started doing that in the late 90s. So, you know, this is well before that. We're talking about 30 years prior to that change being made. This is a Model 36 no dash. Now, if you don't know what that means, when people talk about a 36 no dash or a 19 no dash or whatever number no dash, it means it's the original model that they came out with before any design changes were made, before any engineering changes were made to the gun. And with the 36, that actually went for a very long time, much longer than you normally see on these guns, because they started numbering them in 57, 58, in that range is when they started with the model numbers. Before that, this was just the Chief Special. But in 57, 58, whenever exactly it was, they came out with them, with the Model 36 as the number. They kept that, I believe, until I think the 36-2 in 88, I want to say. Now, they did come out with a 36-1 in 1967, but it was a heavy barrel 3-inch version. And so the snub nose like this, the standard models, just continued to be the 36 no dash, or just 36 as it will be stamped on the inside there. I don't know if you can see that, but it just says 36. So it's just the standard 36. It has the regular cylinder release here. Some of the earlier ones had what they call a flat latch. This is not a flat latch model, just the standard latch that they use pretty much on all their guns by this time. One thing about this gun is I did pay too much for it. I saw it in a gun shop and I've been wanting one. They were wanting a little more than what I wanted to pay. And it had a little bit of surface rust. I mean, really light. It was just barely even noticeable surface rust on this side right here. You can see here, I think, the finish, what happened to it. I thought it was really light and would come off without damaging anything. I didn't think it was going to be a problem, but it turned out to be deeper than I thought. Now, there's no pitting here. The metal is smooth. It's not pitted. It's just frame wear. I mean, just finish wear is all that is. But you can see a little bit of finish wear there, which bummed me out considerably when I got it home and found out that I was wrong about that. Not the first time I've been wrong. Not the last time I'll be wrong. But there you go. That's the Model 36 there. It's got the 1.875 inch barrel here. Which was the standard, which they still have. This still has today. Now some of your J-frames now have longer barrels. Your 357 models, like your Model 60 now, which is a 357, has a 2-inch barrel. Of course, they make longer barrels as well, 3 inches as well. But the standard 38 specials still have the 1.875 inch barrel on them. And for comparison, here is Smitty, my 642 that I've carried for many years now, who's beaten to a pulp. You can see all the finish wear there where he's been beaten up, because I've carried him everywhere. Rolled around on the ground underneath cars with this on my hip and carried it in my pocket and beat it up against stuff. And Smitty takes a lot of abuse and he just keeps on going. He don't ever complain. But of course, you can see the new style cylinder release they have there versus the old style. But same barrel length exactly. Of course, Smitty here is an alloy frame, whereas the 36 here is a all steel frame. The parallel with this type of gun to this would have been the Model 37, which came out just soon after the 36, which was in an alloy frame. So the alloy frames have been around almost as long as the steel frame J-frames have. But you can see here, if I line them up, something else is different. I'm lining the barrels up here, and I don't know if you can really tell there. I'll turn it up like this, maybe you can see that Smitty has a longer cylinder, because Smitty is on what they call the J Magnum frame. In 1996, they came out with the J Magnum frame, which has a larger frame window for the cylinder. And so the cylinders in these are actually larger than they are in the original J-frame. So if you got a Model 36 now, one of the new classic editions that they put out now, it's actually going to be on the J Magnum frame. It's going to have the longer cylinder. So it's going to be a little bit different. Now they do put the latches on the classic series that look like these more than like these, though. So they did that at least. And I think those look fairly good as well. But I thought about maybe trying to find one of those, and I just never have. But you can see it has the longer cylinder here for Smitty. And they did that because they were going to go with the Model 60, the Model 640s. They were going to upgrade them to 357 Magnum. And 357 Magnum is a longer cartridge. It needs a longer frame window. And Smith didn't want to make a standard J-frame and then a Magnum J-frame as well. They wanted to just go across the board and only have to produce one frame for all their guns. And that's a cost-saving thing, and there's no harm in it, right? Overbuilding for your 38 Special is not a big deal. But, these guns, all of these alloy frame guns here will shoot 38 plus P. Of course, all the steel frame ones are rated for 38 plus P now as well, but the steel frames pretty much could handle it before anyway, even if they weren't rated for it, as long as it was a steel frame. Now, I'm not going to shoot thousands of rounds of plus P through this gun, but I'm not going to shoot thousands of rounds of plus P through this gun, or I'm just not going to shoot thousands of rounds of plus P, because I don't do that. There's no reason for me to shoot that much plus P. I carry plus P sometimes for carry, you know, in my guns. So, you know, there's only going to be a limited amount of plus P ammo going through either of these guns if I do shoot it. So it's not going to be enough to make a difference whether this one's rated for it or not, technically. And it's not, because the SAMI specs had not come out when this gun was built. So it's not going to say plus P on it. That's a new designation, but a lot of your 38 Special back in the day was as hot as plus P is now anyway. So, and when you really look at the pressure on a plus P 38 Special, it's still a very low pressure cartridge. It's nowhere near a 357 Magnum. Some people think 38 plus P is halfway to 357 Magnum or something, and it's not even close. It's only, you know, a couple thousand PSI higher. You know, your standard 38 Special I think goes to 18, I believe it is, 18,000 PSI, and plus P I think goes to 20,000 PSI, and 357 Magnum is like 35,000. So I mean, there's a huge jump there. So when you're talking about 38 plus P, you're still talking about, you know, a low pressure cartridge. But there it is. There's a close-up of the Model 36 in all its glory, and even with that wear on the frame there, even with that finish wear, I still think this is a beautiful gun. And you know, it's not really a range gun for me. It's not a gun I get out and shoot all that often. I do get it out and shoot it some, but it's one that I just wanted in order to have it. It's not one I'm going to carry. There's no reason for me to carry this when I've got Smitty here, so I just bought it because I like it, because I love Smith and Wessons, and I thought it was a nice looking gun, and I still do. You see, I had to put a little sight paint on there. When I did the video, I couldn't see the sights at all, so I had to put some sight paint on there just to be able to see the sights well enough to even shoot it. But there she is. So I'll let you guys go. Appreciate y'all coming out. God bless you. Y'all take care of yourselves. We'll see you next time.